computer. Kia ora koutou. Here I am, Jen Tyson, again with another story from the frontline. And tonight's happy contributor is the lovely Jasmin Lawrence. Now, I came across Jasmin on Instagram, and I think she has a little podcast called Pocket Rocket. I think it's something like that. She'll tell you more about that. But I came across her and I thought, I'm so inspired by you. So I said, hey, why don't you come tell your story? And guess what? Since we decided to do that, we've since had the Excellence Awards, and Jasmin went and won, highly commended in Rising Star Site-Based. So Jasmin is a site manager with Fletcher Living. So welcome, Jasmin, to this kōrero. And if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit to the people listening, that'd be great.
Hi, thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. So yeah, I'm Jasmin Lawrence. I'm originally from the UK. I've been in New Zealand 7.5 years, and I'm a site manager up in Whenuapai, which is West Auckland. And I'm currently working on $100 million development yearly. So overall, it's like $1 billion. It started in 2016. I've been there for 2.5 years, and yeah, absolutely loving it. Very happy to be in Auckland from Hawke's Bay. People think I'm crazy to be up here, but it's exciting, and I've got to meet huge more amount of contractors and work at different companies, and it's been awesome. And I've got to engage with Narvik more as well and meet yourself, Jen, which has been fantastic. So thanks for having me.
Yay. So we just want to tell a little bit of your story in the way that, you know, we like to look at how women got into construction, because there's often so many different ways, right? So the next question for you is around that. So how did you end up in construction, the role you're doing now, but also prior to this? What's been a little bit of your journey in?
So from a young age, I was brought up in as we sort of say, a building family in the UK. So my father was an architect and builder, and he had a building company when I was younger. But obviously that was, yes, I'm 33 now. So when I was 12, 13, I used to be really just fascinated by what he used to do. So like downstairs in his drawing room, he'd have these blueprints, and he would now and again take me out, but very, very rarely, because obviously it wasn't a woman's zone as much. And then my two brother-in-laws were in construction, got their own companies, a bricklayer and a builder himself as well. And a lot of my friends actually got into the trades from a young age, because it was quite popular for the males back in the UK, and it was the best form of money, because obviously apprenticeships pay you straight away and you go to university. But on the back of that, I've always been really artistic, and you know, my sisters were very heavily into fashion, and myself, I used to just be fascinated by buildings. So my mum would buy me Lego or, you know, dolls houses, and I'd be fascinated by the look of them, or I'd be drawing and it'd always turn into my dream home of like a New York style penthouse or a London cottage, or, you know, a high-rise building and lift elevations. And so my scope from a child, I think, has always been in my blood of construction. And I loved working with males. I loved that sort of male environment, and I was really always one of the lads when I was younger. And then went off, done my thing, the Europe thing, as everyone does, and generally got back into, when I got to Australia to do a year out as a working visa 8.5 years ago, I ended up working in a bar, and next door they were renovating. And I just got talking with them, and it was really funny how much I actually had learned from my family back at home. And I just helped them, and I was like, oh, that would look quite good there. And I ended up getting contracted by them in Australia and just fell into project management. And I was like, oh my word, this is the most enjoyable thing I've done, because all of my roles, funnily enough, have always led into leadership roles. I've always spread my knowledge. I've been very good with events and organising and communicating and delegating and working with different races and all of these, you know, so all the skill sets that I've had, funnily enough, have always led into this sort of project management leadership role. And it's really funny, because I was wanting to go back to the UK and go on the tools as a carpenter, but my grandfather and a few of my friends said, no, like, you are a construction manager. Like, we would listen to you. You know the vision. Like, I can see the end goal a lot clearer. Like, I can walk onto a site, and this is before a lot of training that I've had behind me in courses, and I literally could look at a plan and visualize how I needed to get there. And it was a skill set that I was like, oh, wow, okay, this is where I need to be. So I traveled a little bit more, got to New Zealand, Obviously I hadn't had a degree or nothing similar. I got into construction recruitment, but my role ended up being construction because I was fascinated with the builders and the welders and the mechanics and, you know, anything around that, civil roading. And I absolutely excelled in it and, you know, double the branch. And I was like, right, I need to get back onto site. Like, I loved it. And funnily enough, there was a maternity leave position going for project manager, but obviously you need a degree, or you need to be a qualified builder or have an LVP. And I just went straight in there. And in my head, I was like, do you know what? I've got this. I've absolutely got it. Like, I'm going to get this job. This is where I need to be. And I sat there, the director, and said, look, I have got nothing on paper, but do you know what I can offer you? Enthusiasm. I'm willing to learn. My leadership and personable skills are second to none. I'm a positive person. I'm a kind person. I've got empathy. And I promise you, I'll enhance your team, because this guy in particular, the company wasn't doing very, very well, but he wanted to expand, and there was a lot of people leaving. There's a lot of young guys starting their apprenticeship with no motivation. There was just like a turntable of staff. And he said, but I've got no more money I can't give them more money. I don't know how to keep my staff. And we ended up going more on a HR route type role in operations. And I said to him, I said, believe me when I say, you don't need to give money, you don't need to offer anything, but you need to offer a better working environment, and they need to feel cared, and they need to feel that they're listened to and they're thanked, and they can go home feeling rewarded, you know. So he sort of said, look, I said, look, give me a 3-month trial. Let me see what I can do for you. So anyway, got the 3-month trial. The lady who ended up having a year off maternity, and her job was always there. I said, I'm not going to take your job, but I'll just help till that point. And I put 3 guys through their apprenticeship, and not a year ago now today, they ended up calling me and saying, just want to say thank you. We've qualified, and we can't express how much you've done, you know, what you've done for us. And that sort of started my journey with BCITO and Open Polytechnics and all of this. So yeah, so naturally fell into this role, but also you've got it. If you've got these skills, these soft skills, don't be afraid of going for a higher job. You know, don't be afraid of thinking I'm not skilled enough, because we need more people in leadership roles, and especially women, because we have something that men cannot offer. We are very diverse. We think about the bigger picture a lot more, and we can simplify things. I'm not saying that men can't do that as well, but we all have different skill sets, you know. So I just want to influence that to anyone that I meet, and I'm wanting to carry this through, you know, that if you've got some sort of spark and passion, please follow it. Yes, by all means, you know, looking back, it would be fantastic if we'd done a trade, because there's more technical knowledge, but it's been harder for me. You know, every night, like, reading the building code is not exciting for some, but I love it. And I go away and I YouTube and I Google, and if I don't know something, I'll go and figure it out, and I talk to the builder. It will take me longer. It will, you know, but I tell them, you're the experts, but I'm here to work with you and let me help you. So yeah, that's sort of, that sums it up. And I'm just flabbergasted that I'm here now, and I'm on this amazing journey, but I just want to help as many women as I can. And, you know, any events that I can do, and I bring people to site and I can show them what's on offer, but also not dismissing these roles that are needed in society as well, just in any male dominated field, let alone construction. So yeah, and this is where I am, and I've got a purpose, and I don't think I think this was my purpose, really, and I'm looking very excited to see where it goes. Yeah,
that's so cool. And you wrapped up 2 of my questions in one go, little pocket rocket. So that, you know, what do you love about what you do? That came across so clearly in terms of passion. And I guess just wrapping up this little interview, what would you've sort of touched on it, but maybe just give us a couple of points about what would you like to see for the future for women in construction in particular?
them able to come into construction, into any role, and have a sense of pride and belonging. You know, we talk a lot about diversity and making things normal, and how can we do that? And we are doing that. We're really setting the tone. We're talking about it more. And it goes back to, so I wrapped up all your questions in one there without even realising. I get so excited when I talk. But the one thing I love about my job is the people, you know, working with so many different ranges of people and diverse sexes and everything that's going on. It really feeds my soul. And I feel that women deserve to have that feeling of empowerment when they go to work, and the ability and to say, that's what I want to do, without being looked at differently. And the way that we're doing that is hitting it at the core. And I think, if I can say, the future for construction is definitely going to look different, because I strongly believe that schools and education sectors and people like ourselves are making that change, because we need to hit it at the core, and just seeing that power come through, because it will be normal. And I just cannot wait for the day where it's not looked at as you're different because you're manly, because you're going into a trade where you're doing that. It's just a sense of belonging. And there's going to be so many more avenues opened up from companies. Like, I got a phone call the other day from a friend who's got a construction company, and he was so excited, and he was like, Jazz, guess what? And I was like, what? And he was like, I've just taken on board this female apprentice and I'd love you to meet her. Like, and I was like, oh, so her name's Poppy, and I'm going to catch them in a couple of weeks. And again, he's excited, wants me to be involved in it, and I'm getting those phone calls more and more. And I work for a company, but outside of that, it's about people, and it's about what can we do to offer that as normality. And the same, like, I've had a few companies that are jumping on board. They're like, can you help us? And do you know what? Yes. Yes, we can help each other. And it's just about not taking this for ourselves. And I think we need to include as many people as possible, and just, making women feel empowered again. We're powerful people, and, getting at that stigma of this is where you should be, and you need to have kids and not go back to work. And no, it's not about that. And that's across the board. And I'm very excited for the future, and it's looking really bright for our young generation. Definitely.
Well, with people like yourself and others inside Ngāwik, and even just in the sector that are passionate enough to gift their time, because I think that's what people don't realise about us in Ngāwik, is a lot of this time is, volunteer gifted outside our regular jobs and families and whatever else we've got, lifestyle and things like that. So it's awesome. And I thank you for wanting to come on and share your story with us, and share your part of your journey. And we're going to put some links below so people can connect with you and your podcast. And also, so I'll make sure that those are in the description below, so you can connect in with Jasmin and the work that she's doing, and see if you can connect over those sort of things. But look, I know we could talk all night about it, because we get really passionate. And don't be sorry that you answered all my questions. It was just a guide. Like, you just went for it. It was like, boom. But it's great, and it's all good stuff. So I really hope for anybody listening to our little session tonight, that you found a little gem of your own, and feel inspired and empowered to I think my key takeaway from you, Jasmin, was something I'm always passionate about, is that we can, we're more skilled and more talented than we ever give ourselves credit for. And our ability to talk ourselves up into a job is sometimes a little bit hampered by our worry about what people think of us. So that's what I love about you, and your confidence, and how hard you've worked to get where you are. So thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Time is priceless, but I really, it's worth more, isn't it, than most people think.
It really is. So I hope this little snippet in time has inspired you. Check out the links below, and that's all from us. Ka kite anō.